regular school board. We will begin.
And to the republic.
First item on the agenda, September recognition.
Thank you, President George Davis. Good evening, board, Dr. Woodson, and our community. We have a handful of recognitions this evening. First up, we would like to congratulate our North Central High School counselor, Mr. Aaron Shelby. Is Mr. Shelby in the house? All right, come on up, Mr. Shelby, as I'm congratulating you for being named the Indiana High School Counselor of the Year by the Indiana School Counselor Association. The Indiana School Counselor of the Year Award. The award honors outstanding professional school counselors in Indiana for their outstanding service and achievements. Through an extensive outreach process, Indiana school counselors, teachers, administrators, and others are all encouraged to nominate professional school counselors who run exemplary school counseling programs in their schools. We are proud of Mr. Shelby's work and we thank him for his incredible service to our students and all of North Central High School. Thank you and congratulations again, Mr. Shelby. Take a quick picture. Take a quick picture by yourself. Thank you. Next up, award winners were honored at the second annual Indiana Educational Excellence Awards Gala in Indianapolis. That was last Friday, September 8th. Additionally, the event spotlighted the 2023 Indiana Teacher of the Year, Indiana's 2022 Millikan Educator Award recipients, and other dedicated educators from across our state. We are extremely excited to share that Northview Middle School was presented with the Excellence in Leading and Learning Award. This award recognized an individual school that provides high-quality professional learning and support for its educators. The 2023 Educational Excellence Awards were presented to schools that are making significant progress toward improving achievement for all Indiana students. Up to $5 million in awards were granted to schools to celebrate their progress and achievement in supporting student excellence and growth. The size of each financial award is based on the respective school's total student population. We are happy to announce that Northview Middle School received $215,600. Again, congratulations to Northview Middle School Principal Mr. Hakeem and his team on receiving this prestigious award. Do we have Northview Middle School in the house tonight? All right, well, we'll get them.
Mr. Doss.
Mr. Doss, come on down, Mr. Doss. All right, next up, I know they're here. Congratulations to the Adult Education Program, Mr. DeLay and his team. We are excited to share that Washington Township Schools have received a Program of Excellence Award from the Governor's Office. This is a direct result of their hard work and dedication to our program and its students. We were one of 14 programs to receive this award. There are 59 adult education programs in our state. We were one of 2 programs in Marion County to receive the Program of Excellence Award, the other being Warren. Over the years, we have received awards for our adult education program, but this is a true reflection of our staff's unity and persistence. It's such an honor to achieve this award because you had to hit measurable benchmarks above and beyond the performance goals set by the state of Indiana. Adult education is performance-based funding, and your hard work has taken our program to the top. Thanks so much for all you do to serve this vital population. And it's truly an honor to share this celebration with all of you this evening. So all of you with adult ed, come on down so you can be recognized.
Thank you for your work. Your work. It's so good to finally see that on you after all these years. Thank you for your work. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you.
And we have a presenter here who would like to add to that recognition here. So we'll allow that.
I am Jerry Hafner with the Indiana Department of Workforce Development, which sponsors the adult education program at the state level. And this is truly, truly an honor here. Our commissioner at DWD said in his letter to this award-winning program, "Thank you for your exceptional work in supporting adult learners as they achieve their goals and improve their educational and economic opportunities, bettering their lives, families, and communities." On behalf of the State Office of Adult Education, Laura Pastor, who is with me today, and all the adult educators across the state of Indiana, we are a mighty group. Thank you so much, Washington Township Adult Education.
Two more,
Or do you-
sorry.
Please join.
Come back home.
Way to go, adult ed.
Good to see you.
Next up, congratulations to Hilltop Learning Center. Mrs. Yarrell and some of her team members are here tonight. They participated in the PAST quality rating system for the past 10 years. The Office of Early Childhood and Out of School Learning, or OECOSL, recognized Hilltop for its hard work and all that goes into becoming and maintaining a high quality program, not only meeting basic health and safety standards, but providing a quality learning environment, implementing curriculum for the children in their care, and much more. In partnership with the Indiana Association for the Education of Young Children, the OECOSL awarded Hilltop with a $1,000 cash award and a decal to commemorate in recognition of this milestone. So congratulations to Hilltop and its entire staff. We're proud of you. Come on up to be recognized at this time.
Congratulations. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Thanks.
And one final recognition this evening, we are honored to announce that Spring Mill Elementary has been selected to be a Get Your Teach On collaboration site for the 23-24 school year. Spring Mill is one of 12 schools in Indiana chosen to participate in this transformative program. Chris Pambano will lead the Get Your Teach On team as they identify our needs and create an action plan to accelerate student learning and teacher effectiveness. During their time at the mill, they will participate in classroom observations, work with teachers to design model lessons, implement school-wide initiatives, provide professional development, and help transform learning spaces and instructional practices. Congratulations, and we look forward to hearing the success stories at Spring Mill this year. Come on up, Bulldogs, to be recognized.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Hello.
All right. Board President, that concludes our recognitions this evening. Back to you.
Taylor. We just need to pivot for one moment as we have a board member virtual. So I just need to take roll so that we have on the record who is present. Mr. Fensel?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Ms. Fry?
Here.
Mrs. Here. Here as well. Let the record show that three board members are present in person, one virtual, and one absent. Okay. Next item on the agenda is our school spotlight. This evening, spotlighting J. Everett Light Career Center.
Good evening, everyone. Is this the biggest audience you ever had? Because okay, okay, I tried.
Yes.
Does the PowerPoint coming on?
Yes, and you can pull it up on your device as well.
Okay, I see it. Mhm. The bottom? Oh, I thought it was right there. Okay, come and help me. I don't do these kind of. There. It's not just me. That's not what it is. I thought that was it. See, I was kind of there.
This is no item select.
See, it's not me.
There you go.
Initial presentation. Okay, thank you very much. President George Davis, members of the board, Dr. Woodson. We really appreciate you letting us spotlight J. Everett Light Career Center tonight. We're going to start with a quick introduction of the management team, if they could wave. They're back there supporting this presentation, and I appreciate them being here also. Some of our points of pride include things such as we have an organization called Career Technical Student Organization. And one of our teachers, Candy Smith, who actually retired, did receive that Lifetime Achievement Award last year. So we're excited about that. And then we also have teachers who continue to expand on their education opportunities by getting additional degrees. And then, of course, our adult ed program won the Award of Excellence Awards tonight, so the other night. So we're happy for those achievements. As far as students, we have 8 students. Well, it's funny, I added this on here. We were proud, we had 8 days with no absences. I think that's a win. So we're excited about that. We also, with our students, we continue to have a high number of industry certifications, and we also have dual credits. One of the things that we're most proud about is that we have students out in the workforce at work-based learning sites, which include Eagle Auto, Don Hines Ford, Ed Martin Chevrolet, Clearwater Elementary is one of our partners, and iSurgeon of Indiana. So we have several kids out in the field as second-year capstone students working out there and earning additional high school credit. We also have a student, Ms. Hernandez, who's participating in the CPA Scholars Program, so we're really proud about that. As far as school community partnerships, we've always had that as part of our initiatives. So on the website, I have a little link. We have several listed there, and we continue to expand our school partnerships opportunities. As far as equitable achievement, we have 3 areas we emphasize, which are grades, dual credit, and certifications. As far as grades, we want to celebrate the fact that 90% of our students earned a C or higher. And that's really good. We do everything from retesting. We do all those things to make sure that they are highly proficient in their skills. And with that, those grades, they get to check off box 3 of the graduation pathways. So we're proud about that. As far as dual credit, we have 17% growth in dual credit opportunities. We went from 51.66% to 68.66%. So that's a great accomplishment too. So that means over 782 of our students earn dual credit that they do not have to pay for. Also, as far as certifications, 368 students earn 490 certifications. So those are certifications they can go out in the workforce and use and earn, in most cases, a little bit more than students who are just now working on their certifications. So some of the programs that lead in certification include culinary arts, our certified nursing assistant program, our emergency management program, and auto service technology. So we're very proud of those programs too. Areas that we need to continue to grow in are the same 3. We want to make sure that we look at students' grades, make sure that they're earning their proficiency grades, as well as dual credit. We want to always increase. We have this theme this year, 1% more. We want to go 1% more above what we earned the years before. So we're continuing to look at grades, dual credits, and certifications. Next is promising practices showing closure of racial achievement gaps through achievement data. And we are continuing to look at the big 3. We call it class disruption, disrespect, and refusal to comply. And with our African-American students, we're down by 41%. And we continue to call parents. We continue to do things, put things in place to support our kids. It does help that the students are with their teachers 3 or 4 hours a day. So there's more of that family atmosphere where they listen to the teacher probably more than their parents sometimes because they're with them longer. But we have response to intervention trainings. We increased our parent participation in communication. And we do things among the peers among the teachers, like we have strategy strolls where we can share different best practices. One of the big things we've been focusing on is our increased PLC work and how we can enhance that directly related to career technical education. With dual credit, our African-American students increased by 12% and Hispanic students increased by 13%. And then with our certifications, overall, we had an increase of 5.84%. So I have all that drilled down if you want that. Overall, our top performing programs in certifications include culinary arts, of course, EMT, and cosmetology. So those 3 programs are the top earning certification programs. And now we would go into special recognition, which I love to do. First, we're going to call up our student, Olivia Davis. If she could come up. Olivia is an amazing student. She represents our school well by upholding some of our core values of respect, honesty, and diligence. She always strives to do what is right and advocates for herself and others when needed. She attended Fox Hill and West Lane. She plans to work at Salon Loft after graduation to build clientele with the goal of opening her own salon. And possibly returning to J. Life as a cosmetology teacher. So we're looking forward to keeping her. We need to pre-sign her, give her a letter of intent or whatever. So, so we want to recognize and commend Olivia Davis.
Proud. You have a right to be proud.
I was going to say introduce your mom, but we don't need to now. She just looks fabulous.
Yes, she does.
only get 15 minutes.
Congratulations.
Good job. Next is our above and beyond parent recognition. It goes to Stephanie Watson. She could come up. Now, a little side note with Stephanie. I used to teach at Lawrence North and she was one of my students. And at 14, she was doing my hair. She's still doing my hair to this day. So she's one of our parents. She's a Lawrence North graduate of 91. So although Stephanie's son, who's also here, graduated from our culinary arts program, he graduated from North Central. She continues to give back by supporting our J. Everett Light Career Center cosmetology program. As a practitioner, image consultant, fashion stylist, mentor, salon owner, showcase instructor, and certified mental health first aider, she continues to give by sharing her expertise and wisdom. Her partnership has enhanced our program as she goes over and beyond as a visiting instructor and advisory member. Again, she was a class of 91, but her son went to North Central, so we're proud about that.
Advance one slide for the picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me that.
Fashion consultant.
That's right. And next up is our friend Joe Payne. Wake up, Joe. Come on. Next thing, thank you. Joe Payne is our supportive partnership recognition. Joe has been our professional partner for all 19 years I've been at J. Everett Light Career Center. He is a major influence on how we market J. Everett Light Career Center. As an owner and president of JP1 Specialty Advertising Incorporated, he has supported JEL by providing advice, donations, and a vision on how we can make J. Everett Light Career Center a first-class school. He is our main person that we go to for swag, if you know what that is. So we recognize Joe and we think he's the best. Thank you, Joe. Oh, we got to take your picture. I told you we were going to take pictures. Again, we want to thank the board for allowing us to present and show some fantastic things that we do at J. Everett Light Career Center. And that concludes our portion.
Up on our agenda, we have superintendents.
Thank you, and thank you to the JEL team for being here tonight. And it was a wonderful visit that we had on Monday at JEL as well. For the board this evening, you have an enrollment review. Currently, enrollment is up in the district, and we are super excited about that. We still have several weeks until 8 a.m. count day, so we are watching that weekly and very closely. I also have a list of the September cultural and national observances for the board's FYI. Exciting with our diversity, equity, and inclusion work. Just today, I attended with a team of leaders from the district, the Closing the Gap Symposium. This is work the district has been involved in since 2019, and this was a culminating symposium. We work collaboratively with agencies and supportive colleagues on closure of the racial achievement gap and community resources that were brought to the table as well. So it was a great day of learning. Additionally, we have staff participating in upcoming National Black Student Achievement Association Professional Learning, which is aimed at fostering educational excellence and empowering Black students across the nation. And lastly, we have the Teaching and Learning Division staff participating in Racially Conscious Classroom three-part series, which is conducted by the Courageous Conversations Academy. Later this evening, you'll have an opportunity to hear an update from our DEI consultant, as well on our systemic efforts for diversity, equity, and inclusion in Washington Township. We also have a software conversion. This project, as you know, has been reviewed in detail and timelines have been modified. For various reasons, this is the updated, we are moving forward at this time with the timeline that you have in your documents, but I do ask that the board take a look at that. It is a massive project and impacts the entire district. So it is no small undertaking, and certainly want the board aware of the current timeline that is in your documents. Also, several kudos to share. First is an attachment that our communications team put together, which is Washington Township Schools Month in Review, highlighting celebrations from across the district. I also wanted to highlight a True North success story. This is a picture you have in your board docs of a former True North student who just finished their degree in pharmacy tech and came back to help out and support at True North again. And the power of that was she told her story of how True North really made a difference in setting her on the trajectory and successful path that she's on now. We also have two celebrations for Willow Lake. Willow Lake has some student ambassadors that put together a video that absolutely brightened my day, and I hope it does the same for you. So you have that video in there. But they are also launching this year at Willow Lake an all-pro dads group, which I have the photo for you, which just brings me so much joy. But this is a national dads organization that supports students in school, and just really excited that this group is getting kicked off at Willow Lake Elementary. You also have a wide range of equitable achievement data in your documents this evening, everything from iRead results to iLearn results, and a recent article which shows Washington Township having one of the highest academic recovery rates in all of Marion County coming out of the pandemic. There is certainly a lot that we are celebrating, we are sharing, we're proud of, but there's also areas we're going to continue to work on, which are all in direct alignment with our district strategic plan and further detailed in our individual school improvement plans. We do have upcoming communications about all of these pieces. Some have already been sent out. Our district newsletter coming out, the next issue will highlight additional achievements and areas for our continued focus. So again, just wanted to highlight that wealth of data that is there for the board's review. And that's all I have.
And now we will have comments from the public. You know the drill. Comments shall not exceed 20 minutes. Each person is limited to 3 minutes. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic unless others who wish to speak are heard, and the maximum allocation has not been exceeded. And the following comments are not tolerated: harassing, personally directed towards staff, students, or anything obscene.
Could you repeat that? I didn't catch it all. Jerry Phillips, 7102 Allisonville Road. I have spoke about this recently and just want to continue the emphasis that the nickel plate trail in front of that will extend to basically that's flashing light on 62nd Street there in front of Eastwood. It will be on the south side of the road for a walk for students to get to Eastwood. I have some concerns about the fact that they're taking out turn lanes into Eastwood, and then they're also taking out the turn lane headed westbound at 62nd in Allisonville. So I would encourage everyone involved in facilities and traffic and to be aware of that. That package is out for bid right now. They're expecting to award the bid or open the bids on September 28th. And the construction for Eastwood would be during next summer, during the summer break. Thank you.
Hearing none, we will move forward with our consent agenda.
Yes, thank you, President George Davis and members of the board. I recommend that you approve the consent agenda for this meeting. This consent agenda includes approval of the minutes of the August 23rd, 2023 regular meeting and the amended minutes of the July 19th, 2023 reorg and regular meeting. approval of one payroll calculation summary report, a claims docket in the amount of $16,196,122.65, excuse me. A special personnel item in accordance with Indiana Code 2026-5-11.2, a human resources report containing classified personnel, 43 new hires, that's numbers 58 through 100, 13 resignations, that's numbers 46 through 58, certified personnel, 7 new appointments, 2023-2024, that's numbers 94 through 100, 6 resignations for 23-24, those are numbers 71 through 76. There are no competitive grants, gifts, or donations to present for board's approval this evening.
Madam President, if there are no questions, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented by Dr. Taylor.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Pencil,
Aye. And Madam President, if you could lean into your microphone a little better, I'm having trouble hearing you.
sorry. That better?
Much better. Thank you so much.
Okay. Ms. Fry,
Aye.
Ms. Horth-Kruger,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Next, we have our budget hearing.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Woodson, members of the board. I bring to you this evening the second step of a 3-step process for our budget that is required by state statute. And our first one was last board meeting, and we had the budget workshop and then asked for permission to advertise. So for that advertisement, we advertised on the Public Gateway website, and then we also advertise on our own MSDWT website. So that advertisement had different parts of it where we advertised on our website the actual budget workshop presentation, and then we also advertised what's called a Form 3, which provides the budgets and the levies that we're seeking, and then also a capital projects plan, and then also a bus replacement plan. So oops, if I can go forward. Okay, so tonight is the second step of the process where we hold public hearings on the things that were advertised. And then the third step would be the next board meeting on October 18th, where we're asking for the board to adopt our budgets. And then at the end of the year, that is when the state, the Department of Local Government Finance takes all of our information and reworks any kind of figures, taxes, all those kind of rates. And then they certify our budget, which then gives us the final approval to spend that money in calendar year 2024. So moving on, just to kind of give a overview, that is the 3 things that we talked about. And our for our education fund is one of our major funds, and the major sources of revenue for that is our state tuition support, which is calculated based on our enrollment ADM, which is our average daily membership. So we're looking at those numbers for this year. The count day has changed from September to October 2nd this year. So we are constantly looking at those enrollments like Dr. Woodson indicated earlier. And so far our enrollment for 2023, 2024, it looks stable. And if anything, we see some increases. So we're happy about that. That is great news for our district. So then for our other major fund, which is our operations fund, the main revenue source is from property tax levy, which creates a maximum levy. They have a formula that they do through the state, And our amount for 2024 is an estimation from the state. And then at the end of the year, like I said, they rework everything. And then they actually take out part of the circuit breaker impact. And just to remind you what that is, and that is an amount that is a max that homeowners can pay for their property taxes. And that difference that it calculates is a loss for our schools. So ours is approximately $1.5 million that they do take off of our levy when the money is distributed to the districts at the end of the calendar year. So another reminder is we have periodic transfers from the education fund to our operations fund. And that is by law because in 2019, they dissolved the education fund, and the 4 buckets that used to be in categories that were in the old general fund, 2 of them stayed and went into the new education fund, and the other 2 got moved into the new operations fund that houses what used to be the capital projects fund, the transportation operating fund, and the bus replacement fund. So to cover those expenditures that got transferred into the new operations fund, by law, Indiana code, we're able to transfer up to 15% of those state tuition dollars. And our amount ranges anywhere between 11 and 14% for our district. So we're definitely underneath that 15% threshold. And then the capital projects plan that was presented last board meeting through the budget workshop and advertised has 2 different areas where it is equipment, capital expenditures that exceed the $10,000 and over a 3-year period, and then small projects that would be paid out of the operating fund in excess of the $10,000. The bus replacement plan is a 5-year period plan. And we usually replace anywhere from 8 to 11 buses. And we're anticipating replacing approximately 11 buses in 2024. So of course, if you heard our buses, the price of buses have gone up significantly. And so we have to watch that in our replacement plan. But the replacement plan allows you to replace buses that are 12 years old or older. And we're continuing to do what we have in the past of spending the same similar amount from our operations fund. Sorry about that. Next is our debt service fund, and that is our main debt fund that we do general obligation bonds from and lease bonds from, and different payments such as common school fund loans, those type of things. And that is a tax rate fund. And our district maintains that tax rate so to be stable, so we don't have roller coaster tax rates for our public. So as one bond falls off, then we put another in there, and we use that to do our general replacement type cycle. So it could be roofing, it could be paving, it could be those type of things that we don't utilize a large, like our capital referendum for, those type of things. So that is our ongoing repair and maintenance type items in the district. And just to remind you, discontinued is the ability to claim our unreimbursed textbook expense starting in 2024. So now that we are not able to charge families for textbooks, we are not able to do the difference. What it used to be in the past is whatever we claimed, we were able to claim a certain amount or certain period of time up till October. And then those that were not reimbursed from the state to the district that happened after October through the end of the school year, we were able to put in our debt service. Since we're not charging anymore, we're unable to do that. So that has discontinued. So just wanted to remind the public on that. And then our referendum debt fund is our capital referendum. And that we have 2 different referendums. We had $185 million that passed in 2016. And all the financing has been issued for that. And as you know, from our capital team and on our website, it shows where we are in progress for all that. And then we also had another one, $285 million that passed in 2020. So all of those, we had 2021 was our first year that we received funding for that. And when we receive funding for this, it's a cash flow basis as needed. So as we go throughout the 5 to 7 years of doing these projects, as we need the dollars from that 285 million, that is when we apply and do a lease against our buildings to be able to fund those renovations. And then the debt payments are spread out for the next 15 to 20 years to keep that tax rate stable. And then, sorry about that, the rainy day is another fund that we have. And usually we add that into our budgets just to have an appropriation in case the board so chooses to use that in the next budget year. So that is a fund that is from excess dollars from previous years, and it doesn't have a tax rate or anything like that to the public. And then you'll see, of course, talked about the advertisements. That is where it is located on our MSDWT website. It's under the divisions, departments, business services, and a budget tab. And you'll see all of the last 3 to 4 years also on that if you care to look up that information. And then this is what I was talking about with the Form 3, the notice to taxpayers that is advertised on the Gateway site and also on our website. It consists of different areas. On the top portion you'll see here, it talks about our public hearing that we're doing this evening, and it talks about our adoption meeting, so the public knows when those actions are happening. And then here is the information that's collected from all the forms that we have to do for the Department of Local Finance. And these are the dollar amounts for the estimated budgets and levies for our district for 2024. And then our capital projects plan, it has the same idea where it has a notice to taxpayers, so they're aware of this hearing that we're going to have this evening. And then all the detail from the capital projects plan that we are able to do or have the approval to do out of our operations fund. That doesn't mean that we're doing it all. That just gives us the opportunity that if funds are available, then we can do some of these things out of our operations fund instead of using a general obligation bond or a lease. And same thing with the projects. So it's equipment and projects. And bus replacement plan follows that same idea where it has the notice to taxpayers that was published. And then it has the 5-year plan of what we anticipate replacing in each one of those years of the 5-year plan. So it has the first 3 and then the last 2 years and then the totals on this last page. So like I indicated, next board meeting, we will be asking the board for to approve the adoption of the budgets. And also we have ancillary resolutions that are required by law also that will be at that board meeting that goes along with the budgets. So that is all that I have for this evening. And if the board doesn't have any more questions, we need to open and close 3 hearings. And the first hearing is for the 2024 budgets that were advertised. The second hearing is for the capital projects plan. And the third hearing is for the bus replacement plan. And I would ask that, Madam President, that you open each one of these hearings and close them and allow the public to speak on them.
Board, any question? Not, then we will, excuse me, open the first hearing for the 2024 budgets. Being no comments, we will close the hearing for the 2024 budget. Next, we will open up for the capital projects plan. We'll close the hearing for the capital projects plan. And finally, we will open the hearing for the bus replacement plan. And we will close the hearing for the bus.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is our first action item, approval of settlement of settle. Oh, okay. approval of the settlement in the Altria litigation and approval of government entity.
Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Woodson, members of the board. I bring to this evening, if you recall, back in the spring, in March, we brought to you the same type of scenario against a Juul entity. And that is company that developed a smoking alternative, vaping cigarette. And they lacked the sufficient evidence regarding the toxicology report and everything that came out with that. Now, them, along with any other related parties, were in separate lawsuits. So we asked the board for that release of claims in Juul. We received, for the district, we will be receiving a little over $250,000 from Juul, and that's paid over a 4 to 5 year period and in different increments. So those we are making plans to see what we can do for the education of our students and staff with that information from those settlements. And then this is a secondary one that is in conjunction. They had investments and everything with Juul, so they were a secondary a lawsuit against this Altria. So it's in the same type of fashion. It's a lower amount, but we seeked attorney representation for both of these lawsuits, these class action lawsuits. And we were one of over 1,500 school districts that were able to join this lawsuit and get some of the lawsuit. And for this Altria, it's a little over $78,000. So just like any other lawsuit or any kind of proceeds, there's some, of course, attorney costs, those things that come off the top, and then we're able to utilize those in our district. The difference between the two is Juul was specific to, education and that of this vaping and doing all that for our staff and students. Now, the Altria is a different one where it was a lower amount of $78,000 and there's no stipulations to that. So we are combining those. We're trying to look to see what we can do for the district for the good of our students and staff for that lawsuit and those claims. So that distribution for the second one, this Altria, is supposed to happen anywhere in the first half of 2024. So we don't know that yet. We'll receive that that knowledge later on in this fall. The Juul starts this fall and then continues over the next several years. So with this, accepting this type of settlement, the board needs to approve a release of claim that we wouldn't file any more claims after this against this entity. So this evening, we are bringing that release of claim to the board along with other things in your board packet and asking the board to approve this release of claim to be able to settle this class action lawsuit and in favor of Washington Township receiving these funds.
Mr. Fensel, did you have any questions?
I was just curious as to Mrs. Smith, as to how we might spend this money. I know that it's for education. Are we just going to roll it in with the Juul money and try to do something for our students to try to curb vaping or with the teachers, or do we have any more specifics on that?
We have joint meetings now throughout the district. So we are finalizing those plans as we speak. So it'll be a wide array of things that are aimed toward the vaping for our staff and students.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
Okay, in that case, I will entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move that we approve the settlement in Altria litigation and approval of the government entity release of all claims as presented by Mrs. Smith.
Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Not, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Fensel,
Aye.
Ms. Fry,
Aye.
Ms. Swartzberger.
Aye.
I am aye as well. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Next, we have the approval of the 2023 admissions to IDO.
President George Davis, members of the board, and Dr. Woods, I'm here this evening seeking approval to submit the 2023-24 school improvement plan to the Indiana Department of Education. And as you well know, each of our schools develop a school improvement plan based on the district strategic plan, as well as the individual needs of their particular students. And that process is very involved. They have a leadership team at each school that works on that. And once they complete that plan, they submit that to the teaching and learning division, where all of us provide additional feedback to them. They go back and make additional changes. At that point, they share it with the WTEA leadership, where they review it, provide feedback. And at that point, we're where we are tonight, seeking approval from you to submit. And indeed, if you approve that request, then we will submit the plans to the IDOE the week of September 25th. And then again, moving forward, we will publish them on websites the week of October 2nd. With that, I'd be happy to field any questions you might have.
Board, any questions? Mr. Fensel?
No, ma'am.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
There are no questions, Madam President. I move that we approve the 2023-2024 school improvement plans and as presented by Mr. Doss.
Second. Moved and properly second. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Fensel?
Aye.
Ms. Fry?
Aye.
Ms. Woods?
Aye.
I am aye as well. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Next, we have the approval of the North Central.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, members of the board, and Dr. Woodson. I am here to request approval of AIA document A133-219 Exhibit A for the guaranteed maximum price amendment for the North Central High School Phase 4A and 4B outdoor athletic facilities package dated September 5th. That's a mouthful. The capital projects team is requesting this approval of the above mentioned GMP. It is an amendment to the Skillman Corporation's construction management contract dated March 10th of 2021 for Phase 4A and 4B outdoor athletic facilities package. This package includes, and I'm going to list a little bit because it's exciting, I believe. This package includes a demolition of the existing grandstands of the football grandstands, site improvements, new home grandstands with press box, visitor grandstands, visitor restroom concession building, new athletic lighting, new soccer press box, renovation of the existing soccer storage building, renovations to the existing home concession building, and a new salt storage facility. So this amendment will replace a previously presented Phase 4A amendment dated July 10th, 2023. The early package was for the bleachers and the press box, and it was necessary because of the long lead time duration so that we could meet our completion dates. As you know, we work very diligently to try to maximize our XBE results, and we feel we had great success in this effort. The total XBE spend toward for the apparent low bidders was a total of $3,873,000 out of a total low base bid of $7,240,932. That XBE total is a whopping 53.48%. So we're very proud of that. But even more proudly, I am here to officially say we have surpassed our $100 million commitment goal for XBE. Of that, we have about $65 million in actual spend to date. So again, we're going to celebrate that success. So the total financial impact of this GMP amendment is $11,978,882. And the funding sources will be from 2016 and 2020 referendums. We do have Victor Landfair and David Yancey of the Skillman Corporation here today. So we'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Fensel, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Boots, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, if I add up the bid tabs for the low bidders, I assume we're using the low bidders on all of these. there's a
sir.
difference, there's a
Yes.
difference between that total and the amount that you're asking for, and I assume that's a fee for the general contract, or the project manager and the construction manager. Is that the case?
Yes, sir. It is the fees and construction contingency, staffing, bonds, and insurance. Yes, sir.
And the amount for the bleachers and the press box are not being changed through this process tonight, are they?
No, sir. That work has already been awarded to the low bidder from the previous 4A guaranteed maximum price. And indeed procurement is underway. So that has not changed.
And I did see that there were multiple bidders. Were you pleased with the number of bids? I
We
guess there
were.
were, okay,
Yeah, we were. It's a tough environment, as you know. And I think the CM team did a good job promoting this. It was a rather attractive package as opposed to some that are perhaps not so attractive. And it also was not as huge as our previous phase 3 package, which approached $100 million. So more palatable to the contractors. We were pretty pleased with the results.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Boots. I have no more questions, Madam President.
There are no further questions. I will entertain.
Seeing no further questions, I move that we approve the A1A document A133-2019 Exhibit A for guarantee maximum price amendment for North Central High School Phase 4A and 4B outdoor athletic facilities package dated September 5th, 2023, as presented by Mr. Boots.
Second.
Any discussion? Not, I will call for the vote. Mr. Fensel,
Aye.
Ms. Fry,
Aye.
Mrs. Horth Krueger.
Aye.
I am an aye as well. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
But don't move yet. Now we have the approval of the 2016 project change orders.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. And again, good evening, board members and Dr. Woodson. I am here requesting approval for 5 change orders to the capital projects, and they are as follows. Change order number 006 to Shield Sexton Harmon Joint Venture GMP for renovation of the Greenbrier Elementary School. Change order number 005, Shield Sexton Harmon JV GMP for renovation at Nora Elementary School. Change order number 003 to Temperature Control Services for renovation of the CEC ELC. Change order number IN 21001-015 to Smoot Construction GMP for renovation at CEC ELC. And change order number 007, Skillman Davis Joint Venture GMP for renovation of North Central High School. Total financial impact of these change orders amounts to an increase of $238,270 to the 2016 referendum, and a total of $202 for, I'm sorry, $202,000 and $202,048.16. I'm sorry. And this, of course, would come from 2016, 2020 referendum funds. Be happy to stand for any questions.
Just a quick one. Can we anticipate that after this, there won't be any more change orders for Greenbrier?
If there are, I don't want to say decide, but if there are, they'll be very minor. That project is done, is in what we call closeout. So it's sweeping up all the little leftovers. So there may be some very small ones, but nothing of any consequence.
So it's still in closeout.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Fensel, any questions?
Yes, I was curious if the contingencies cover all of this, Mr. Boots, or
Indeed.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
Yes, indeed they do. We had a healthy contingency, particularly in our phase 2 of the high school, because we knew how risky a lot of that work was. And a lot of these dollars are the results of underground and unknown and unexpected things that we found when we put shovels in the ground. And with as much work as you recall seeing going over the summer here on campus or on the high school campus, it was quite an endeavor and frankly, a great accomplishment. So kudos to the team for sure.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
No further questions.
I move that we approve the change orders for the 2016 and 2020 capital construction projects as presented tonight by Mr. Boots. Do I need to say the actual change order numbers?
No.
Okay.
I'll second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Fensel?
Aye.
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 Ms. Swan?
Aye.
I'm aye as well. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks so much.
That concludes our action items. Now for our first information item, preliminary teacher evaluation data.
Thank you, President George Davis, members of the board. I come to you this evening, as I do annually, to share with you preliminary teacher evaluation data from the 2022-23 school year as required under Indiana code. As you can see from the notes in your board documents for this evening, last year in 22-23, our preliminary data is that we had 393 teachers who are in the highly effective category, 340 teachers that were in the effective category, 6 teachers that were in the improvement necessary category, and 0 teachers that were in the ineffective category. That window for reporting to the state opened just here in the last few days, and data is required as final data to be uploaded by October the 27th, which we will certainly meet that timeline. I am happy to answer any questions that the board may have about this data at this time.
Dr. Kaiser, as you look at previous years when you've collected this data, is this basically on par with what typically happens annually, or are you seeing any fluctuation in the highly effective versus the effective?
No, no major trends. Last year, the highly effective was about 417 and the effective was about 302. So a number of teachers that last year, the fluctuation, but we see that at times a 30 to 40-ish teacher swing between those two categories is not abnormal, and it just kind of has an ebb and flow to it, I guess I would say.
Would the same be true for the improvement? The 6 number, is that usually fairly?
Yeah, last year was about 9. I would say that a high number for us would be around 10, but a low number for us over my time as HR director would be maybe 3 or 4. So obviously we have folks who come to us often new to the profession who need support, and any of those teachers who remain with us here in Washington Township, some do not, but any that do remain have a plan for improvement in place that they're working with their building level leaders in order to improve their instruction. And we've seen some folks who through that work have then been effective in the following year, and that's always our goal.
Thank you.
Mr. Fensel, any questions?
No, Madam President.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have our diversity, equity, and inclusion update.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Woodson, members of the board, and our community. I just have a couple slides up here because I'm a visual person, but really I'm just going to share verbally some highlights. Let's see. I'm thrilled to share that after starting on August 1st, that I hit the ground running in such a short amount of time. The board received a comprehensive report last month that gave details on my consultation per scope of work item listed in my contract. I recognize that this brief board presentation this evening cannot possibly cover all of these areas due to the time, but I encourage the board to review this very detailed report. Over the last month, I've had the pleasure to visit buildings and meet with school leadership to listen to their current celebrations and challenges at the building level. Together, we've established goals for this semester and future work to support a collaborative approach to address opportunities for growth. Some of those priority goals are up here, and I'll share a little bit more. As you can see, this leads to action steps for future momentum embedded into building level leading team meetings, faculty meetings, district-wide professional development opportunities and engagement, starting with leadership, staff, students, and families. This includes clear communication of scope and sequence of DEI initiatives that support school improvement plans and builds upon past work to dive deeper. increased depth of understanding of breaking down deficit ideologies and how this is embedded into PLC conversations and interactions between students, staff, and families, and tangible practices that staff can implement in their classrooms and integrate into all content areas that align with our Elevate core target practices. For each of these subgroups, we will dive deeper into these 3 Ps: practice, examining our mindsets, beliefs, and continuing our mirror work in our own self-awareness and what personal values, triggers, biases, and perspectives we bring to our schools and classrooms, and how this impacts the students and families that we serve. Pedagogy, sharpening our craft in what we teach and how we teach it to ensure we are culturally responsive, utilizing research-based practices that engage learners as active participants, utilize proactive discipline approaches, and an asset-based lens of high expectations and accountability within a culture of care. And lastly, policies, reevaluating current structures and systems that might need revised to ensure marginalized groups and all students have access to high-quality educational programming and experiences. Each of these facets will encompass a variety of learning modalities, context, and stakeholder groups to meet each of these group needs, starting for our leaders, and that's the top of this funnel right here. Within our district equity leadership team meetings with principals and assistant principals, in collaboration with Dr. Paul Gorski with the Equity Literacy Institute, with a year-long book study, Fixing Injustice, Not Kids. And I have that book here with me tonight, and I believe all of you have received a copy from Dr. Woodson. This is a continuation of a partnership with Dr. Gorski, which started last year and in years prior. Additional examples, Dr. Seaver and I were able to meet with JEL just last week, where they presented previous history of DEI and cultural responsivity work timeline over the years. They shared how they've aligned this with their core values and mission and vision for the students they serve at JEL. And together we've collaborated planning on co-creating a map of action for this school year during lunch and learn experiences for staff and faculty professional development. Another example of leadership facing support is our continued partnership with Child Advocates to ensure all administrators attend Interrupting for Racism training. And then we will also offer this to all staff who would like to attend. Going down into our staff stakeholder group, we're continuing to cultivate lab classroom experiences where staff can learn from experts in the field and from each other. We continue a partnership with Cornelius Minor, which is a continuation of work from last year and years prior to increase our culturally responsive teaching practices. In addition, we'll focus on asset framing through our PLC conversations, continuous collaboration between myself, our teaching and learning division, secondary and elementary curriculum coordinators, to ensure that our MTSS process addresses the diverse needs of all students, and curricular materials provide high quality learning experiences with a priority focus on a foundational tier 1. So lastly, for students, and I also include community and families as a huge part of students, we continue to strive to increase our engagement in feedback and inclusionary practices and spaces such as our community coalition, our student advocacy clubs at the secondary level, and in Interrupting for Racism training as well for community stakeholders. Additional examples of student-facing support and action. There is currently a Teach Plus project undergoing at the high school with department chairs for AP courses, where myself, Dr. Seaver, and department chairs were able to meet last week to dive deeper into underrepresentation of specific subgroups of students in AP courses. Their first line of action is just asking students how they feel about this, why they might not be signing up, where this starts, and how we can dig deeper into supporting more students being in those AP classes that represent the demographics of our community. Another example of student-facing projects and support and initiatives is that we're currently collaborating on a reevaluation of our SEL curricular materials in our K-8 classrooms specifically, and how this is integrated into all content areas beyond morning meeting and advisory through the Castle SEL 3 signature practices, including welcoming rituals, engaging strategies, and optimistic closures in our teaching. To close, I'm fully aware that this work is big and deeply rooted within our Washington Township community. And I'm committed to this alongside all stakeholders, leaders, staff, students, families, and of course, in gratitude and partnership with the school board. I honestly recognize my perspective and lived experiences are unique to myself only and not reflective of all members of our community, which is why I continue to seek collaboration and counsel from those with different perspectives than my own, including outside consultants, community members, colleagues, and of course, students and families themselves. Thank you for the opportunity for me to share with you this evening. You will continue to get comprehensive monthly reports per scope of work from my contract through December. I welcome any questions and comments you might have for myself, along with my teammates, Dr. Seaver, Mr. Blum, and Mr. Doss.
Thank you very much for that, Ms. Dills. I do have a question. Can you explain a little bit more about what's involved in the student advocacy
Clubs?
clubs? Thank
Yes.
you. I thought it was clubs, but
Yes. So that was an initiative that started last year for our middle schools and our high school students. There are a variety of different clubs at each school, and there's a club sponsor or co-sponsor that works with a group of students that might be wanting to engage in specific ways of giving back to the community, diving into social justice. Just last year, as part of the SEL team, when I was an SEL coach, we were able to attend and present with the Ladies First Advocacy Club at North Central, and theirs is all about female empowerment. And so each club has its own niche based on that subgroup of students. And the idea is that it's affinity space for those students to feel safe and feel heard, but then ultimately to give back to the community and to think of ways that we can uplift their voices. Another highlight from our student advocacy clubs last year was that we had our first ever student leadership conference, which was highly powerful for all the students and sponsors that attended. We had wonderful breakouts and a keynote speaker. Dr. Brian Dinkins was there. And so we plan to do that again this spring, and we would really like to grow that opportunity for students.
thank you. I do remember that. Now, may I ask one more? The Teach Plus initiative that you said you worked, I guess, last week with department.
Yeah, it's just an initial conversation to kind of hear more about what they're working on and how we can support them.
And I should clarify, it's a North Central teacher
Mhm.
who is a change agent with Teach Plus facilitating this project.
Okay, thank you. But you are going to be, I'm curious when we might get some feedback from students.
Yes, yes.
You mentioned you would be asking students.
Yes, yes, that's their first line of action within this project, is that they just want to hear students' perspectives and their experience. And so I'll be happy to share that once that gets underway.
I think 18-month project in its first couple months.
Oh,
To
great.
give you perspective.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Funzel, any questions?
Just a comment. We appreciate everything that you're doing, Mrs. Dills, and we look forward to seeing progress over the fall. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one question. You mentioned I know that you visited the buildings and you kind of discussed flows, grows, challenges, et cetera. I wondered if, because change brings change, are you getting much pushback, or what's the climate that
Mhm.
you're feeling right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Each school has its own unique climate. And it's my job as an outsider coming in, really just to listen to them because they're the experts within their school. And so I really position myself as a listener in those meetings. I openly share the big projects that I'm working on, and then I put it back on them and just really ask, what are the things that are going well in your building? What are the opportunities for growth, and how can I support you? And it's been very well received. I'm very lucky that I have close, trusted relationships at the elementary level, having taught at the elementary level for several years and served as an instructional coach at the elementary level. So I recognize that my work is at the secondary level. And so I've spent a lot of time at the middle school so far, and also able to meet with the high school and JEL and True North. And I know that that's where I'm going to have to earn a little bit more trust. But overall, it's been very positively received. And I think it's because I've positioned myself as a listener and to really lean on them and their expertise within their building and support them in any way I can.
I'll echo also beyond the schools. We are continuing our work with each department and division, having very thoughtful and deliberate plans for strategic deployment of diversity, equity, inclusion for their area, including transportation, including human resources, including business services. So it's not just the schools. We are continuing this work as an entire district.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I just realized I forgot like a whole half page. So I'll add these items as well. Some examples of staff facing support, which is what you just shared. Another example is last week I was able to attend behavior PLC meetings at Willow Lake Elementary. These meet monthly and are led by their alternative classroom teacher throughout the year. They are also diving into a book study as a school to really dive deeper into the why behind student behavior as a form of communication and what adults can do to uncover the unmet needs and changes in the classroom environment. I also want to share that within the first couple weeks of my work with Washington Township, I was able to facilitate an elementary-wide Tier 1 professional development on our first Tier 1 time that they're calling it at the elementary level. It was all around classroom management strategies and proactive discipline to start the school year. Like Dr. Woodson just shared, we have plans already in place for custodians, bus drivers on the first e-learning day next week. That's going to address the 3 Ps within their context. And then we have future plans for child nutrition staff, SROs, our deans, specific around restorative practices. And then this is my favorite thing to share is that as I'm in schools, there is some confusion sometimes, and they're like, do you still work here? And I say, yes, I do. And they say, do you still come visit classrooms? So I will always say yes to teachers and students. I believe that I need to walk the walk before I just talk the talk. So I've had the opportunity to teach and model proactive discipline strategies and culture responsive teaching so far at Eastwood. I'll be at Nora tomorrow. I've been at Allisonville, and I've taught lessons at Willow Lake. So I'm very excited to share that. I also, one more staff facing item that I didn't mention is that pretty soon here, Mr. Kaiser and I will be communicating with staff the opportunity for them to be involved in affinity spaces if they would like. We've done that in the past, and we've had an affinity space for staff of color, a white affinity space, and an LGBTQ plus affinity space. So we're going to communicate that interest and see where the interest lies and go from there to be able to provide that opportunity for staff as well.
No, thank you very much.
Mr. Fensel, any more questions?
No, Madam President, no further questions.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.